Imagine what goes on in someone's mind to make them do something really bad. Today, we're going to dig deep into a story where someone did just that. We'll quickly go over what happened in this crime, look into the mind of the person who did it, and try to figure out why they might have done such a thing. In a scenario that's hard to believe, we're going to explore a serious crime committed by an individual named Nate. This wasn't just any ordinary act. It was one that shocked the core of our understanding of law, order, and humanity. Nate, driven by a complex web of emotions and beliefs, decided to carry out an act that he thought would send a message based on his own view of justice. On a day that seemed like any other, Nate transformed from an ordinary individual into someone who would be remembered for an atrocious act. He meticulously planned this event, choosing his acting with a chilling level of precision. Despite the calm exterior he might have presented to the world, inside he was a tumult of confusion, anger, and misguided conviction. Nate's actions were not random, they were targeted. He chooses victims he identified based on his own prejudiced views, believing somehow that his action would convey a message or serve a cause. His method was cold and calculated, driving a vehicle into innocent people, an act that he shockingly found to be easier than he had anticipated. The aftermath was devastating, with lives lost and the community left in disbelief and sorrow. As we recount Nate's actions, we are reminded of the victims and their family whose lives were irreversibly altered that day. Their pain and loss are the forefront of this tragic event. While we attempt to understand the complexity behind Nate's motivation, our hearts remain with those who endured the unimaginable because of one individual incomprehensible actions. Let's delve into the background of Nate, the individual behind this heinous act. Nate's life prior to the crime seemed unremarkable in many ways, blending into a social fabric without a notable distinction. However, beneath this veneer of normalcy, there were undercurrents of deep-seated belief and a growing resentment fueled by his online discoveries and interpretations of social issues. His descent into extreme views didn't happen overnight, but was a gradual process influenced by various online sources that he believed unveiled a certain truth about societal injustice against his perceived group. During the interrogation, Nate disclosed his journey down a so-called rabbit hole of extremist ideology beginning around the time he was legally an adult. This period marked the start of his radicalization, where he began to harbor and nurture a growing animosity towards certain groups, fueled by a concoction of skewed historical interpretations, personal grievance, and a distorted perception of reality influenced by like-minded online communities. In the room where police talked to him, Nate showed us a lot about his mind. He spoke clearly, but was eerily calm, as if he totally believed his scary reason for doing what he did. He tried to justify his actions with a messed up sense of doing something right, showing he was really stuck in his dangerous belief. He didn't show any regrets and seemed really fixed in his idea, which shows how deeply he was influenced by these harmful thoughts. The way Nate acted when the police talked to him showed he was really out of touch with normal feeling and values. He talks about the crime like it wasn't a big deal, without the feeling you'd expect for such bad action. This makes us wonder what drove him to take such a harmful path. Okay, now let's try to understand why Nate did what he did. He told us he was upset about things he found on the internet, which made him feel like he had to act against certain groups of people. He thought he was righting some wrong based on what he believed was unfair treatment toward people like him. This belief didn't just pop up, it's grow over time, shaped by stuff he read and watch online, which made him more and more angry. Now thinking about Nate's mind state, it's a bit tricky. He seems to know what he was doing and believed it was for a good cause, even though it was very wrong. He wasn't confused or out of touch with reality. Rather, he was very focused and had strong emotions driving him. It's hard to say if he had any mental health issues without more information, but his actions show he was deeply troubled by his feelings and beliefs. He didn't show regret or sadness for what happened. Instead, he was firm in his belief, which is worrying because it shows how strong and dangerous such feeling can become. This sad story makes us think about our society as a whole. It shows us why it's so important to be aware of mental health and how complex our minds really are. When something like this happens, it's like a mirror showing us the parts of our community we often don't talk about, including how we deal with tough topics like mental illness and extreme beliefs. Understanding the human mind can really help stop these things from happening. If we know why people do bad things, we can try to prevent it. We also need to look at how we all support each other in society. Good support can mean fewer people feel so lost or angry that they think about hurting others. So, we looked at a tough story today, talking about the crime, the person behind it, and what it all means. It's really important to try and understand these things, even though it's hard. This understanding can lead us to kindness and maybe even stop such sad events in the future. Let's keep talking about these important issues, chat about mental health, how we can stop crime, and help each other out. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos and make us think and help us learn. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you, and see you in the next video.
If you're offering, sure, yeah, I could just a bit of water, sure.
You hungry or anything?
We can pass that for now, it's fine.
Okay, perfect. Alright, I'm gonna go grab some water. I'll try and find you some shoes that are about your size. I don't have a great selection, but I'll do my best, okay? Are you alright if I sit far enough away, can I take my mask off?
Oh yeah, did you want me to put my back on?
No, I'm totally fine if you're okay.
No.
No? Okay.
No, I don't care if you take yours off.
Okay, alright, just hold tight, I'll be right back.
Yep.